Hello and welcome back to YouTube Analysis. What we're going to be going through today is quite a lovely company. Started off from the bottom and literally is almost at the top now. They're doing quite well. Most of you will know them. 88 Energy. Top of their game right now. Drinking ice wine. Nothing else they need to stop doing. But what we got to be looking at is their recent charts and see if they align with the fundamentals and see what's going on with the company. What's the outlook for the next year? Personally, I'm going to start this off and say I don't have any positions in this company, whether long or short, nor in the previous video. This is just a fundamental analysis, YouTube analysis video. But I really think this is one of the golden companies for the next year. Reason being, Ice Wine 1, Ice Wine 2 explorations, the billion-barrel resource estimation, and this is quite likely to be true because every well drill they're going across, they're coming back with better results. You know, this is like Premier Oil. Every report is better, but every update is much better. This isn't a one-trick pony, you know. What's his name? Paul Basinski found this asset. Dave Wall had acquired this back in January, I believe. Saved the company. They went from 0.2 pence to 2.5 pence as of current. Peaked at 4 pence back when they were hype in March, which is pretty interesting. There's a huge investor base now, and they have a lovely community going on, which I respect with terms of professionalism as well. So, what I'm going to be looking through are their recent RNSs. I haven't looked too much through these RNSs because it's quite a long-term stock and I'm more of a trader. But for the overwhelming majority of people, we've got to look and see, what are you looking at? What do we have to do when it comes to analyzing a company? So, we're going to look at their operational update on the 2nd of December. Let's see what this one has in store for us. Okay, so it's talking about their 2D seismic update. They're processing the data. Maybe they've updated it, I'm not sure. This is the third as of recent RNS. Let me see. The high potential, the Okay, so what we can infer from this is they do have a large acreage position in this ice wine area in Alaska, and they're not a stranger to it in particular because these guys know the area. They've had Paul Basinski analyzing every single part of this ice wine project and making sure that Ice Wine 2 is going to be in line with the barrel resource estimation. So what I'm now going to do is look at a bit of sentiment on the boards. You can see a lot of people are getting close to this share as a community. These could be the LTHs, these could be people stuck in at higher prices, or these could be people in from the start, which is the most likely scenario here. So you see it's quite a good company to its shareholders, and when you're looking at shareholder value, this is a company that delivers. So that's a good point in particular. Then you're seeing a lot of numbers being cited quite blind-eyed, but I'd prefer if they justified it. However, if I look at the share price and the market cap in my perspective, I'm going to look at it this way. With £105 million market capitalisation and an NPV of approximately 1 to 3 billion, maybe even 6 if Ice Wine 2 is as successful as the first, when drilling starts, which could be a long time scenario, their value could be significantly higher and more towards the highs of 4.2 pence, or quite potentially higher if they're broken. You could be looking at 6 to 8 pence, which could label this as the quite blatant stock of the year. However, as long as everything keeps in track, you're not going to see huge dips. But of course, oil price needs to keep continuously rising. It doesn't affect these guys too much, because back when oil was $27, they were like a penny or so, and now they're 2.7 with $54, $53 approximately. However, if they do increase heavily, it will be like Premier Oil. scenario. It could be just rising consistently, more value on their asset to the point where they start producing, and the implementation of this gives them more value in the long run. The CEO, David Wall, was quite confident in the project. He has quite a large holding. I think it's 10 million shares approximately. And he purchased more at 2.1 or 1.8 back in the last placing where they'd raised a significant amount of money for capital, working capital for the end of 2017 or mid 2017. One of those figures stated off the back of my head. And we're going to look back up and see it's quite popular in terms of volume. There's a lot of posts on the board if we look at it. These are the kind of stuff you expect to see on a long-term babe, as they'd say. And there's a lot of hype around it for the new year. And I completely agree with it potentially being the next top stock for 2017. However, has it done its best? With good news in Iran, who knows? Chart wise, we can't tell because of the 0.2 prices in January and the 2.6 now, the peaks of 4 pence in March. I mean, the chart shows a pump and dump, but if you look behind the scenes and you see the fundamentals, it's lovely. It's great. It's the only stock with this kind of a chart that's continuously looking upwards, kind of like Sound Energy, where they went up from 16 pence to 30 pence. People thought, nah, that's useless, sell out, made a bagger. 60 pence, this quadruple bagger, they sell out, and then they see 100 odd pence, crazy, Maybe those are too overdone, kind of like when this went to 4 pence, only after just finding the asset. However, they've made a lot of advancements since, and it looks pretty good for them. So people who hold 88 Energy, I personally think you guys have a good future ahead. I know a lot of people who are also holding 88 Energy as long-term hold in their ISAs. I completely agree with them, If you got money aside and you believe in the company, there you go. And, there's a lot of investor conferences, such as one recently in the Shard, I believe, I'm not sure, or the Land's End pub, I'm not sure. There was a meeting with the CEO and some long-term shareholders. Pretty nice, actually. I wouldn't mind coming along to one of those, to be honest, if I was a holder. So, good luck to you all. I hope this small analysis episode helps you guys. And I've got to say, YouTube analysis out.